Welcome back to another episode, another week of Please Bear With Me. I got a co host joining me tonight. Tim, are you on screen? I can't see you right now,
I
but
am. I am. You got me. I am the cheap imitation to the amazing Scotty Swingler, who's unavailable tonight. He's got some stuff to take care of. Wish him the best. I am pinch hitting. I need to get a beard going. I need to get the backward hat going. I don't have the swag. I'm not cool.
I was just thinking if we were to redo the graphic of the intro, like what would you look like in some of those graphics? And
Nobody
then like,
nobody
who
wants
would
it.
you be? Would you be a coach, sideline reporter? I mean, I don't know what you would be in that thing, but
Male cheerleader. I know there's so
yeah,
many jokes in
listen, it's
there.
2025, man. Be who you want to be, right?
I get those pom poms out, baby. This
Yeah,
is what we do. I'm
yeah,
Mr. Positive, I guess. That's
yeah.
what I'm being accused of all over the
You
interwebs and social
are
media.
very much Mr. Positive. So catching everybody up, we got a email dropped to us late this week that from Linda, the president of Baylor University, saying we are sticking with Dave Aranda. And even though it is tough to say out loud, I think I might agree with what Tim Watkins tweeted on his personal account. Now, I may have used a burner. Just letting y'all know there is a burner out there under my name, but it is not me. I only have one account. I may have used a burner to say some of those things, but I understood what he was saying, and he was sending a message to the rest of Baylor Nation that regardless of who we have to support the team. And we have to at least give off good vibes because being negative, as adults, we teach our kids being negative doesn't do anything. You can get glad in the same pants you got mad in is a familiar phrase that I heard growing up. And so, Tim, walk us through that tweet. Walk us through your mind and what was really going on and why you press in.
Yeah, thank you, Terrence. And this is a complicated conversation. You're talking about a multi-million-dollar decision that Linda Livingstone, the Baylor Board of Regents, had to make in a difficult situation, especially even before we get to the Mac Rhoades piece of the conversation. This was going to be a major decision for Baylor University to really drive onto. With the Mac Rhoades situation, all of a sudden you're firing the CEO and hiring the general manager. Do I let the general manager go? Do I let the CEO hire their own general manager? There's lots and lots and lots of dynamics and lots of money related to that. So I tweeted out. I'll read the tweet. I'll read the tweet for everybody that maybe didn't lambast me on it if you missed it. I love Baylor. I support Baylor. I support Dave Aranda, his staff, and his players. This year, next year, and always. Let's go beat Arizona and Houston, win these next two games. Sick 'em. That's it. And the reason that I wrote that is just it really bothered me, the massive amount of negativity. And I texted in our group chat that, look, boys, I'm going to be positive because it's going to be so easy. The voices are going to be so negative around this, around the players, around the program, around the coaching. Look, you can check my Twitter to know that I am not Mr. Sunshine and Rainbows, and everything Dave Aranda has done is beautiful and brilliant. I have criticized him in writing. I've criticized him on social media. I've criticized him on this very podcast. I've criticized him in his decisions in multiple interviews in multiple forms. I'm not a Pollyanna sunshine pumper saying he's perfect, he's the guy. The point was the decision has been made. The bosses and leaders of Baylor University are saying that Dave Aranda is going to be our coach going into next season. That's how I read it. Is he is the coach today, tomorrow, and at least to begin 2026. That's their
So,
decision. And I support Baylor, whatever decision that they make. Maybe I agree with it, maybe I don't. But the simple fact is, those players, our program, needs our support, needs the fans' support to succeed. If Dave Aranda is the head coach or not, it needs our support. It needs our positivity. It needs us leaning in, not leaning away.
so Tim, if Dave Aranda was always going to be our coach in 2026, why send that message out this week? Why not wait until the end of the year? I don't think the noise is going to
Mhm.
be louder this week, knowing that we probably shouldn't have beat Utah. Then Kansas State almost beat them. So, like, maybe it makes that loss a little bit more painful, knowing how we played against Kansas State. But I have an issue with the timing of the letter. What
I
about
agree. I 100% agree. The timing of the letter, the only so I've done a little bit of PR work. I've done a little bit of marketing work. I've been a sales guy in my career, but I understand enough about PR to be dangerous with it. And to me, the only logical nature of it from a PR perspective is the negativity wasn't going to get any better until an announcement was made. An announcement would need to be made. There'd be continued calls, continued screams, continued yells from the fan base to say, hey, make a decision, do this, do this, do this. And then as soon as option A and option B and option C from the coaching board of every fan is off oh, Baylor's messing this up. All of the good candidates are gone. We're going to be stuck with, and then they make the announcement. The only positive to this is you would have taken 2-3 weeks of negativity, made the announcements, and had the exact same stuff happening now. You're ripping the band-aid off, getting ahead of the news chain, and you're creating a line in the sand. That helps from a PR perspective. That also helps from a recruiting class perspective. The biggest issue that I was hearing from my sources and from recruits was we don't know what's happening. They know what's happening now. That helps coaches on this coaching staff know what is happening. That helps recruits. That's help players instead of living in this nebulous, I don't know, Pandora's box, Schrodinger's cat, if you will, of is the cat dead or alive? Is Dave Aranda coach or not? You get out in front of that and you make a final decision, at least what I read to be a final decision. Some people have read that statement and said that really doesn't say anything and doesn't guarantee that Aranda is going to be here. I don't really understand that. This also could have been a power play from President Livingstone. Maybe she was getting out ahead of something. Maybe there was other voices, other personnel, other things trying to happen, which, we were joking that, Baylor's a good program. It's like, well, Baylor's might be a good program and show it, but we certainly have never been claimed as a well-run program. We've never been a university that's all been rowing together in the same way, in the same manner. Hip, hip, hooray. That's never been Baylor University. So was President Livingstone trying to work a trick play just to make sure that she gets her way and controls a little bit of the narrative? I don't know.
So we still have early signing day, right? But
Right.
we lost that 2 transfer windows, right? We lost the transfer
Correct.
window, have early signing day. So from a recruiting standpoint, I still think this decision could have been made in December 1st or 2nd, whatever next Sunday is. And I don't, from a Tommy's perspective, and I'm just disagreeing with you. I don't know if it would have got any quieter or louder in the next 2 weeks.
Maybe.
Everyone has already seen enough of Dave Aranda. I think it makes it even harder for fans to support the next 2 games,
Yeah.
thinking about when this news hit, versus supporting the team regardless of what's going to happen in the future and saying, this is similar to your point. Like, this is who we got. We're sticking with them. We're going to support them. Now you're doubling down on guys. There is little to no hope. And I say little with an asterisk, meaning Dave Aranda could turn it around. Now, has he shown me, Terrence Ganaway, the ability to do that as a head coach, GM, and a CEO of a program? I haven't seen it consistently. So, but I'm not the one he reports to. And right now he's
Right.
reporting to a guy, a lady who believes in him and supports him to be the head coach in 2026. I think this
Yeah.
message is clear that the AD that will be selected is someone who will be an AD in training, not someone who's ready to come in and rip the Band-Aid off and make the necessary changes within the athletic department to get football as the premier sport back on campus. Now, I'm not taking anything away from any other sport, any other coaches, but football in this era of NIL is the cash king. And we have to do a good job of putting a good product on the field. And this year, quite frankly, we haven't put a good offense on the field, consistent offense. We haven't put a good defense on the field, a defense that knows how to fly to the ball and is disciplined, intact, and is playing fundamental football. Special teams is spotty. I know we had a missed field goal. It was windy. It was a long field goal. You and I already agreed that probably should have just went for it instead of kicking an almost 50-yard field goal. But what we see week in and week out doesn't give us a lot of credence that like we may figure this out sometime this year. And I don't think we're going to figure it out next year, Tim. I think when you write in a letter about stability during transition, the team is not stable now.
No.
Like the coaching staff is not stable now because you got some guys on there that are dudes. Mm-hmm. Hall, Baker, Spav was probably higher on some list earlier in the season, but probably has kind of come down if people are watching games and not just looking at stats. And then you're talking about student athletic experience. Do you think student athletes like going to Arizona and getting smoked in the fourth quarter when they were up 17-14 and controlled just about every part of the game up into the first play of the fourth quarter? And then when you think about mediocrity and talking about we have a standard of excellence, it's like my parents telling me, shut up and just eat your vegetables. They're good for you. And maybe they are. Maybe Aranda is good for Baylor. But I don't have to like it going as it's on its way down, man. I don't even like it when it hits my tongue. I don't like the taste test of what I'm seeing right now, Tim. And I think that is where most Baylor fans are. Mm-hmm. And when I say most, I'm very close to saying all of Baylor fans.
Oh, it's the vast majority, I would say. And I love that you compared Dave Aranda to steamed. I'm thinking steamed asparagus or broccoli was your kryptonite. One of those two. No cheese on it. No roasted. No nothing like that.
Eat it raw.
Oh, no.
I mean, shoot, at this point, I don't even know if it gets steamed, Tim. I think we're just opening the bag and pouring it on the plate, man. It's like, we're in prison and they just slapping food on it. They're saying eat or you don't eat. So, I mean,
no seasoning, nothing.
It definitely not my type of seasoning.
So, yeah, I mean, the harshest criticism that I can say about Aranda, and I 100% agree with you, is that the only consistent thing he's done has been inconsistent. The only consistent thing he's done has been slow to change and slow to adapt to the things that he is seeing, be it offensive changes, bringing in Larry Fedora, bringing in Jeff Grimes, bringing in Spav. He had to have it down before he realized what the problem was. Not stepping in earlier and calling plays when Pallage was in his first year, and it just was a disaster, though. Last year was better. This year's even worse, I'd say, than 2 years ago. The inconsistency of his program and its inability to build on the positives, the inability to build on the success, and arguably the greatest season in Baylor football history in 2021, backsliding and barely making a bowl game. Backsliding and missing a bowl game. Then last year, rebounding when everybody had him high on the hot seat list. Everybody's saying he's going to get fired. He starts 2-4, and then boom, goes on a big run to end the season. Has momentum. Finally, we can go 2 years in a row, strong bowl game. Let's do it. and now we're 5-6, and we have to beat your other school in the University of Houston on Senior Day.
I got a jersey in here somewhere.
There's a jersey. I know there's a jersey in there somewhere. We have to beat the Cougars. We have to beat them, or we're gonna be home. We're not gonna have the bowl game. We're not gonna have those extremely valuable bowl practices. We're gonna lose those opportunities to get a lot of younger players, and we're gonna have to have a lot of younger players playing next year. That's the most painful part about this is Josh Cameron, Ashton Hawkins, Sawyer Robertson, Michael Trigg, a lot of your offensive line, a lot of your best defensive players, Keaton Thomas, Devin Bobby, a lot of guys, Carmen
Sawyer.
Randall. I mean, so you just keep going down the list.
And who knows if we get Bryson back, all right, and then, Pendergrass. I know he's been rehabbing an injury all year, but who knows if we get either of our star running backs. And I know Knighton and Turner have turned it on and been very consistent for us, but
we're in a new
era.
Issue I have. We're in a new era. There's a chance we lose everybody, even with Aranda coming back. We have no idea what's going to happen.
And I'm outside. We're outside looking at. We're outside. I mean, we don't. There's not even a chain link fence for us to see. Like, we are behind a privacy fence, but we know what's on the other side, and we still can't get it done. Yeah. So to say that we got to trust a lot of people that are going to be not very experienced, and what we see on really both sides of the ball lately, Tim, is players that are not coached at a high level.
Execution lacking.
I think execution is very simple. Do your job. I know we need athletes and stuff, but I love the Nick Sabans and the Bill Belichick when he was with the Patriots. It's just, guys, it is not hard. There was a running back that came in for the Patriots one year. He rushed for like 200 yards, 4 touchdowns. He was late to a team meeting the next week and got cut. But it is the standard is the standard. We cannot renegotiate the standard. So I got 2 questions. You talked about some of the coordinators that he's gotten rid of and made moves on, albeit slow. When is Dave Aranda going to make a move on himself?
I think that's the biggest question around his status going into next year. His cure-all for saving his job last time was, I'm going to call the plays. I'm going to be the defensive coordinator. I've been an elite defensive coordinator at half a dozen schools. I can do it again at Baylor. And while last year was bad, this year is much worse. And it's absolutely stunning. That has to be the big thing. I was watching Florida get boat raced by Tennessee, and I saw old friend Ron Roberts on there. I was like, oh, yeah. He went to Auburn, then he went to Florida. That was his defensive coordinator. That was his mentor. That was his guy. He brought in Powledge. That didn't work. He called the plays. That didn't work. How are they going to get that fixed? And there's 2 stunning things to me about the performance, I'd say the last 2 weeks specifically, is we saw the Red Rover defense. That's what they were calling it on the broadcast Saturday that Arizona was doing. That was unique. It was different. It was executed well. It was coached well. It was strategically called early in the game and then leaned on later in the game when Baylor obviously had a throw. And it was incredibly effective. When's the last time we had something like that? Something new, a wrinkle that was really truthfully impactful on the defensive side of the ball. And secondly, even offensively, that was a stale offensive performance in the second half. I was pulling my hair out of my head watching them try to go wide against a defense that doesn't want you to go wide, trying to get counters and things like that when it was working in the first 2 drives of just going right at them, throwing over the middle, throwing between the hashes, doing the quick outs, and then just looked like to me, and you would know this a lot more, just standard duo, standard power, standard run plays up the middle. And in the second half, we just kind of stopped. We got bored with, I guess, success. I don't know what happened.
It's the strength of our offense. I mean, last year we did it as well. We ran the ball up the field. And a lot of those long touchdown runs last year by Pendergrass and Bryson Washington were up the middle of the field. You allow your linemen to climb. And if you have slow-footed linemen or you have people that are not very mobile, you keep everything in front of you. And then when the running back, we're changing out running backs all the time. So defenders are scraping over the top. Running back that's faster will get to that point of attack quicker. A slower running back like me, I'm going to try to set that up. And our running backs have been decent this year. I'm not taking anything from them. But a lot of those sideline plays is very, I don't know if it's scripted, but it's very obvious to me what we're doing. And I think it's obvious to the normal fan that if we just attacked and get our running backs downhill, I think Knighton has became a better downhill runner.
Yes, 100% agreed.
Turner and Washington have the very similar running styles.
Mhm.
Get them the ball down the field, like, downhill. And I just think that offense was very bland last year. And we thought that maybe it was protecting Sawyer because he was learning a new offense. And then we were thinking we would have more wrinkles on offense this year because second-year quarterback, second-year OC. And I haven't seen any more wrinkles.
No.
This offense is pretty figured out. And Dave Aranda started his post-game presser by saying that their defense, Arizona's defense, didn't do anything that they hadn't seen on film. It was nothing new. It's what they prepared for.
That's a failure. That's a failure of game planning, of execution, of coaching, of teaching.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you can just sit there and say, I didn't expect this, this is hard, I saw this and we coached it. Like, when do you say to your best player, you're sitting on the bench or you can go ahead and transfer? I would rather play like this with a freshman with maybe 80% of the talent, but 120% of want to. I want to do this and execute at a high level, and we just don't see it. The turnover, the fumble by Bryson Washington, very next play, they have an 8-man box. We have 2 safeties high. They do a lead sweep almost, pulled a couple of guys, and I think he was untouched.
I don't think nobody even got a fingernail on him. Absolutely ridiculous.
Like, how can you not be able to say when they're in this looks? In high school, bro. Like, DCAP high school couldn't hold. We couldn't play anybody at the college level. D3, NIA, whatever you want. Like, we couldn't. But my coach in high school gave me the liberty to call coverages based on the front and the personnel that I saw. So it would make 0 sense to have an 8-man box and you being cover 2 or quarters. And if we're playing quarters all the time, then I know he said we did that all last week against Utah. We saw how effective that was against the run game. And Arizona, they have a good offense. They got players too. But I just think time and time again, we are out-executed, outplayed, out-coached. And at some point, you can't just look at the coaches. You got to look at the players. Forget about care factor, what all you want to say. This team is playing. If it's inconsistent, then it's terrible ball.
Yeah. It's stunning. It feels like Baylor got blown out, and they did. But they were down 21-17 to start the fourth quarter with their offense in the red zone. That was the beginning of the fourth quarter, and Sawyer throws just an awful pass to the inside of Cole Wilson. Wilson is obviously looking outside. That's where the coverage is leading him. That appeared. I don't know the exact play. I don't know the read.
It's a slot fade. The defender is inside. Yeah. The ball just has to be further outside.
It has to be. You have to throw it to the back pylon. That's what you have to do. If I understand enough about football, I know that is throw it to the back pylon and let your guy go make a play on it.
That wouldn't have been a back pylon throw. It was a back shoulder throw, and he threw it on the front shoulder.
Right.
So the shoulder that's up the field instead of the shoulder that's behind him. If he throws that ball with the way, I think it was against it was Ashton Hawkins, that's a slot fade. They're in man-to-man coverage. Sawyer got the look he wanted to have, and he just didn't make the throw. Could Ashton have pressed him more vertical before releasing and fading? But as you see on that, there is no one else outside. The cornerback is not dropping underneath that. That ball, if it's thrown back shoulder, it's a touchdown and it's the game is over. But we've seen Sawyer miss a
we're
bunch
ahead.
of throws
We're winning.
lately. Yeah,
we're ahead
winning.
all of a sudden.
I think we win the game if we get that play. And I can't remember. I think our defense may have gotten a stop after that.
So they got the interception, and I was just pulling up the drive chart. They went 8 plays for 61 yards and made a field goal.
Okay.
At that point, Baylor's down. Actually, they might have missed. Did they miss that field goal?
They missed the field goal. I knew our defense got, but the next play we got the fumble.
They missed that field goal, so the Baylor defense holds. And I was watching the game with my son, and the first time Arizona gets in the red zone, I'm like, this is where we have to win this football game. We have to have them kick field goals. They can't score touchdowns. And then they got that 4th and 1 touchdown pass when they had their left tackle and left guard tackling our defensive lineman right in front of the ref, not throwing anything. Still upset about that. That was ridiculous. I don't know if that changes anything, but they missed the field goal. Baylor gets the ball, no harm, no foul. And then your star running back coughs it up. Absolutely coughs it up. 1 play later, it's a touchdown. It's an 11-point game, and the wheels fall off. I mean, from that point on, we went interception, fumble, downs, interception, downs. That took 6 minutes. In 4 minutes, it was over. In 4 minutes, after that fumble, touchdown, then we went on downs, and they scored right away, and then Sawyer threw interception, and that was church. That was it. It was 4 minutes that Baylor was badly outplayed. I'd say Baylor played them even for the first 3 quarters. It was an even game. It was well matched. They got some breaks. We got some breaks. We were in a position to go ahead entering the 4th quarter, and 4 minutes, just 4 minutes, and it was over. And it's painful. It's awful. I think Baylor does have a winnable game this Saturday. I know Houston's been dabbling inside the top 25. I don't see that.
Houston's a year away. They got a decent recruiting class. I talked to buddies that are, obviously still great Houston fans. The thing with Houston is they got a mobile quarterback.
Yeah, Weigman.
And we saw what their mobile quarterback did at Arizona State a few weeks ago. Now, they haven't played great since. But if they run the ball on a defense that is allowing people to run the ball, that's the only thing. If our offense is still sputtering, I mean, their defense only gave up 17 points to TCU.
No, their defense is really good. Their defense is good.
The strength. I mean, they played a close game against Texas Tech, but their offense didn't help them out, and then Texas Tech just beat them late in the game. But if our offense does what it's done the last few weeks too, Tim, I mean,
we're going to get blown out.
Yeah, and we're not going – forget about bowl game. Linda said in her message, we acknowledge the frustrations many of you feel, and we share them. I want to know what frustrations Linda feels and if she truly shares them, because I feel very alone in this from a fan base standpoint. I don't know if administration or the board feels exactly what you and I feel when, buying a $200 ticket feels a lot different in our pockets than it does with people that, names are on the stadium or they have buildings on campus. But Baylor football has experienced both historic highs and challenging seasons under Aranda. And this year, we know this season has not met our shared expectations.
Not even close.
So if you know that, and 3 out of the last 4 years haven't met those expectations, and we're in a rapidly changing environment, why ever send this email before the end of the season? And 2, why not make the move? I think it's cowardice.
Yeah.
I think it's scared. In my house, when we're playing dominoes and there's money on the table, we say scared money don't make no money. And I think Baylor has scared money right now Mac Rose put us in a incredibly difficult spot. If this
100%.
news drops on December the 3rd about Mac Rose, Aranda's fired. Like
I think so. I think so.
This news drops anytime after next Sunday, Aranda is already fired.
Yeah.
And we got a new head coach, and then we have to live through it. So if that's the same thing, like, okay, if you want to hire internally, you want to promote, have an AD in waiting, AD in training, let's give them the reps. But the AD may look good, first year AD, if you have them fire Aranda next year, or they'll look like a savior if Aranda goes and win the Big 12 with a new roster. And I would assume we'll lose some coaches with this carousel that's happening.
I'd be surprised.
Right now.
I'd be surprised if we didn't lose a couple of coaches, and it's hopefully not some of the A+ ones that we have on campus right now, both from recruiting, relationship, and development perspective. That's my biggest concern. Is look, my 4 years at Baylor were 2000 to 2004. I lived the Kevin Steele years. You cannot hurt me. I'm unbreakable when it comes to bad football. I have seen the worst of the worst. I have seen, outside of maybe Kansas before Leopold, the worst modern football program over a decade time frame, 8, 10, 12 years. We know what happens if Baylor makes a series of bad head coach hires. That's what happens. Especially in this type of environment, you may make a couple of bad coach hires, the wheels can fall off. Baylor University knows this. If you are not confident that you have the athletic director in place to make the biggest and most important decision, the safe choice, the scared choice, is 100% keeping Dave Aranda. And that's a choice that they made. And while I don't fully agree with it, I can see the validity to it. And with that, it's my job, in my opinion. I'm not going to judge anybody for not doing what I do, but it's in my opinion that I'm here to support Baylor University. I'm not here to bash it. I'm not here to yell, fire everybody, because as soon as you fire Dave Aranda, that's not just Dave's family that's going through that. That's dozens of families going through that. And I've never been a guy ever to call for somebody's job, because that's tough, not just on one family, but on dozens of families.
It affects so many people. You're so right. The expectations is to win. Yeah. If I hired a CFO to figure out why we're losing money and we lose more money, I have to fire that CFO. Sorry. I cannot allow someone who is critically acclaimed to be great at something, not be great at it. So that's the thing. If we had a Texas Tech defense, not from a top 5, but if we had a stout defense and our offense just was not good, I'll be okay.
I get it.
I'll be okay. I'll be like, listen, like that's our head coach. He got to find the right, but that's not it. We got 2 part-time head coaches on the staff, and neither one of them wants to be an adult. And I don't think Spav, if we got rid of Aranda, would be. But maybe we give Spav 6 games next year if we start off bad.
No, Spav would probably be the interim. And look, I'd say the worst case scenario of Dave Aranda returning is he loses some of the recruits, some of the reasons that Linda Livingstone wrote in her letter to bring him back. We saw multiple of their 4-star top 5 recruits taking visits to Washington, to Texas, to Tech. There were visits. They're looking around because they didn't know before Friday what the heck was going on with Dave Aranda. The hope is that be able to rally the troops, circle the wagons, keep everybody, and really build on, I think, a lot of very talented players that are on campus now that are freshmen and sophomores, and a whole wave of them coming in in January or this summer. The goal would be return Dave, and he's going to be number 1, number 2, number 3 on every single website for is your coach on the hot seat.
I mean, if they talk to
That's
Linda, I
best case.
mean, they may remove him from it and just say we don't know.
So, and then it's up to Dave Aranda to win. And if he goes to Atlanta and gets blown out by Auburn, who's going to have their own first-year head coach, if he struggles at home again, we've got a very home-heavy front end of the schedule. I think I was looking, we've got 4 road games, something like that to end the year. I think we're going to have our senior game in like mid-October, for goodness sake. It's going to be ridiculous. The schedule's dumb. If he loses, we're going to have an interim coach. Maybe that's bad. Maybe it isn't. And they'll be given the chance and an opportunity to audition for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. But if Baylor starts 1-2, 1-3, 2-4, I fully expect a change to be made by the athletic director who has had time, who has had the wherewithal, who understands everything, rather than hiring an AD, well, forcing and rushing to hire an AD this week, mind you. Thanksgiving week, they would have to have an AD in place to remove Dave Aranda after the Houston game. That's not logically going to happen. The only other option is Linda and the board fire Dave and hire an AD and say, all right, your first decision, your first day, you got to go hire a head coach. That's not an ideal situation. So with Mack Rhoades' situation being what it is, it's just the worst case scenario.
It shouldn't even be a rush, though, Tim. Like, when you really think about it, there's going to be people from all over that are going to enter the portal, and they're not going to sign until their second signing date.
So statistics say you're wrong. So 80% of, I was reading this somewhere, I think it was 80% of the P4 starters that transferred in came in the December period. Only like 20%. So 1 out of 5 came in the spring signing period.
Starters.
So you're just dealing with such a fewer amount of what I would call not even blue chip, but starter chip caliber players once you get into the spring and once you get into the summer portals. The Bears' ability, they just be putting out a roster at that point. So I disagree. I do think it would be a rush because you want to keep some of the freshman class. Who knows if Aranda would exit, who would leave? Baylor's NIL deals isn't through Aranda, it's through Baylor paying these high school kids.
Listen, I agree. I mean, that's an interesting stat. I would assume it was different. You know, maybe those guys want it, but I'm sure coaches are saying, like, if you don't sign now, we'll get full. And, you know, I'm sure there's some pulling of some legs.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not saying anything that's new to these recruits, and I'm sure the other, if you want to get developed, I don't think Aranda is developing anyone.
The biggest strike that I can say against Dave Aranda is, what is the last linebacker he has brought in that he has developed into a true stud? And I'm really, really having a difficult time thinking about that. Keaton Thomas came to Baylor, a dang good linebacker. He was really, really good last year as not the middle linebacker. This year he's a middle linebacker, and I don't think he's been nearly as impactful. He's been a ghost out there way too often. Baylor needed him to be a star. Dave Aranda's job, defensive coordinator and linebacker coach, by the way, and a linebacker coach that has put a multitude of players into the NFL, has developed them into All-Americans, and he hasn't even come close.
So if you're a recruit and you're looking at, all right, well, maybe I want to go play for Baylor, where's the development on either side of the ball? Just think of the people we brought in from the portal this past year. Who's the biggest name? Prentice may be on offense, or Prentice is probably the biggest name on offense that we brought in.
Baylor wasn't really active. Cole Wilson, I'd say, has been
Cole Wilson. Yeah, he's been good, but
Wilson, Prentice, and
what about defense?
Louis Brown.
We had a guy from Florida, right? Central Florida.
Yeah, their two biggest gets were Phoenix Jackson and the other linebacker that both blew out their legs and are out for the year. Their third biggest get was a safety from Northwestern who is out for the year. They had Tyler Turner, who has been rotating as one of the 3 or 4 safeties. They had a couple of defensive tackles, defensive linemen, but I wouldn't say that the defensive line has been great. I'd say the biggest criticism I have with the transfer portal class the last couple of seasons is defensively. Baylor has missed on way too many guys that needed to be good. Kendrick Simpkins, they brought in to be a star at the star position, to be a Jalen Petrie guy. He was banged up most of 2024, and this year he's a part-time player. He was a guy that just didn't take that next step and can't do what Baylor needs to do. He's a weak side linebacker at most because he can't cover in the Big 12, at least according to my untrained eyes. So the Bears tried to be aggressive in the transfer portal, and I think they missed on too many. I think they went wide instead of deep. Matthew Fobbs White, Amorian Winston from Oregon. These were guys that were supposed to make Baylor a stronger pass rush. Maybe 2 games we've had a pass rush, I'd say. UCF, the pass rush was really good.
UCF, the worst team we played all year. You know that.
Oklahoma State was. In Big 12. Samford, yes. Samford, Oklahoma State, UCF. Those have been by far the 3 worst teams that we've played, yes.
Trash. Bad teams. And it's hard to even hold anything against those teams. What my frustration is, all right, we're not going to coach you well. We're not going to develop you well, and we're not going to win games. So what's the selling point to an athlete?
The selling point right now is playing time and NIL money.
Okay. So Fernando Mendoza was on a 6-6 Cal team last year. A couple weeks ago, they asked, why did you choose Indiana? And he said, their quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, he said, I've seen them develop people.
Right.
Field of dreams. If you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
We don't have a program in Waco that is built on execution or development, which is why we don't see any execution or development on the field.
So what would you say Baylor is built on right now? And that's a criticism that I've had of Dave Aranda is, in my opinion, especially pre-NIL, pre-transfer portal, a college head coach's biggest job was to create, define, and enforce the identity of the team that they wanted to build. And I look at 2 polar opposites in the 2000s, 2010s, teens, in Art Briles and Gary Patterson. You couldn't talk about 2 different human beings about the way they lived, loved, laughed, and breathed. But what did they both do at an elite level? You knew exactly who Baylor University was in 2012, 2014. You knew exactly who TCU was in 2008, 10, 12, 14, 16. You knew exactly what you were going to get. They had an identity, and they forced that identity upon the game. I still struggle, and we've had this conversation. I still struggle to say what is Baylor University's identity with Dave Aranda as head coach.
It's an enigma. You know why? Because our head coach is an enigma. We don't know Dave Aranda. We don't. Other than a good guy, a Christian guy, according to Livingstone. He's a good Christian guy. And I bet you our team is good Christian men for the most part. Sure, there's some sinners.
Pass the plate and let's have some break some bread on Saturday morning. Let's do that. Does that win football games for you, Terrence?
Yeah, it doesn't. And what makes me so frustrated is that this team is mediocre. The coaching is mediocre.
The players are mediocre.
Execution, the players. And I'm not saying they can't turn it around. But you've given me enough to believe that you cannot, to be convicted that you cannot, to have a sense of I can't even think of the word, but this team has shown me time and time and time again, it is not going to excel to whatever misaligned expectations Linda and Mac Rhoades had for Dave Aranda. This team under this coaching staff will never be a 9-3 team. It will never be a Big 12 championship team. I love Joey McGuire. Like his intensity, his tenacity.
Right.
When you have a coach say week in and week out, I didn't see this coming. But what did you see coming?
Right.
We ran the same defense all day. I mean, well, shoot, Dave, if that's what we're doing, let me be the DC and pay me a couple of millions to call cover 4 and hold the Y button down on the Xbox. Like, if that's all we're going to do, like, bro, anybody can do that. We don't need you to do that.
Right.
We need you to coach executional football.
We need you to hold people accountable for their
and there
mistakes.
is none. There is no standard.
And look,
what I see at Baylor, there's no standard. There's no accountability. There's no development. There's no fundamentals. There is a group of people. I watched the Sawyer Robinson and Robert Griffin, interview. Sawyer's like, he wakes up every day. He does his job. I understand. There's a couple of coaches in NCAA right now that's waking up every day to do a job, and they're about to get fired. You don't get an extension for doing your job. You have to excel better than the next person. And it's a zero-sum game in this. There's going to be some winners and there's going to be some losers. I mean, you sent me the post last night of, Chris Kleiman at Kansas State. They're trying to do everything they can. I mean, look at what interviewer, a reporter asked Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln Riley.
At what point do we start looking ourselves in the mirror? Because this is what, and I said this, Isaac Williams, he's a running back when I was there from California. He came from a JUCO. Very electric, fast, strong, explosive, high IQ. But the thing is, I'm not speaking for Browse, but I think he couldn't trust Isaac, which is why Isaac didn't play over me. I think coach trusts me that I was going to always do the same thing. Whether there was a lower bar, higher bar, I don't know. We got to ask Coach Browse next time we talk to him. But what Isaac told me, it sticks with me. You can lie to everyone in the world, but you cannot lie to the person that you see in the mirror. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering what lies are being told on campus.
Not just coaches.
That we are believing. Like, how can you sit there and say we are doubling down because we believe this is the future? That email, I don't know what prompt Linda used to generate that email from AI. I don't know if she used.
It was Claude all the way, baby.
I don't know if she used Gronk. But we need to tell her that Gronk has an updated version. She can use that. ChatGPT. I don't know what prompt she used, but that letter right there, if I'm reading, it tells me, it says a whole bunch of nothing. And that's the issue I have with Baylor football. It's a whole bunch of nothing.
I get it. And guess what I'm going to be doing Saturday?
We're going to be rooting. Yeah, we're going to be rooting.
We're going to be rooting. We're going to be rooting for them Baylor Bears. We're going to hoping that they win. I want to support, and we'll end on this. We've got a lot of awesome seniors that are going to be playing their last game at McLean Stadium on Saturday. And I know
it's so fun.
The social media world is just, oh, nobody's going to be there. Everybody boycott. Don't show up.
Great point.
I don't agree. I just don't agree. Josh Cameron deserves you to be there. Josh Cameron deserves 40,000 Baylor fans screaming his name, saying thank you for what you have done. Sawyer Robertson deserves that. Ashton Hawkins only been here for 2 years. He has worked his tail off for this university. Devin Bobby has been here for 4 or 5 years. Are they the greatest Baylor players? Will they have a statue like RG3? in the front of the stadium. No, they're not. But dang it, they're Baylor Bears, and we should support Baylor Bears. I was like, boo Aranda all you want. I don't really care. Support Baylor University. That's my ask. I would love to see a mostly full stadium. I know it ain't going to be full. I really hope it's not empty. There's a chance, and those student athletes deserve better than that from Baylor University.
I agree that this is going to be a special moment for those guys. I had my senior day against Texas, University of Texas. We beat them.
Yep.
And I won't ever forget my oldest brother from my mom and dad. My oldest brother and my dad being on the field as I ran out. And just sitting there taking a picture, looking up in Floyd Casey was the best stadium on the planet, I thought. And
you never had to use the bathrooms in those troughs, did you?
Yeah. and really people just going absolutely bananas. There was a lot of excitement around the program. We had beat Oklahoma. We had felt good. We were on a win streak. We were facing the top defense in the Big 12. They hadn't gave up a 100-yard rusher. I ripped off one of the first runs. My contact came out. I had to go to the sideline, put it back in. Anyways, ended up with 150 yards on University of Texas. Any of you guys who are watching. But the moment forever solidified that I was a Baylor Bear and I wasn't going to put on another jersey from that moment on. And to your point, some of these guys will put on a football jersey, maybe for the last time this next week. And I pray that they go out on top.
Yep.
Am I expecting it? Probably not. But will I cheer that they go out on top and have the best memories of all? I'll never forget when Baylor was 2016, we're 6-0. We were already bowl bound. We went to Texas, bring them up again and got smoked. And we lost 6 in a row. And then we played at Boise State. And it was some of those guys' last time ever playing football.
Right.
And it was like, wow, where was this magic? Maybe we see some of that magic this weekend, Tim.
Hope so. I hope so. I'm a glass half full guy. I'm optimistic. Houston's a team of chaos, good, bad, and ugly. I think Connor Weigman's dangerous, but he's a chaos agent, and he's just as likely to give 3 interceptions and throw 3 ducks right at your safeties and corners as he is to run for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns on us. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited to see it. I'll be rooting for the Baylor Bears, as I always will. Appreciate you having me on. Happy to fill in for Scotty and be a very cheap and poor imitation of him today.
So over here is Gather & Co. I know Scotty's not on here, but please go buy some stuff or talk to Gather & Co. I know they're good friends with Scotty, and he mentions them every week. They're a part of why we get to jump on here every single week and have some fun and talk. So our good friends over at Gather & Co. Next time I'm in Waco, Scotty, you have to drop me by there and shake hands and kiss babies with the best of them. But Tim, thank you so much for filling in. I think you do a great job of pinch hitting. Let's close out McLean Stadium with the win this week and see what Texas Bowl we get to go to. But let's go have fun. Enjoy Thanksgiving, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Be safe traveling. Of all this, guys, we could talk about wins and losses, but the true thanks that we should be giving is gratitude. I know Tim and I both believe that our Lord and Savior died on the cross for us to have a life here, and for us to grumble over football, grovel over football.
May us all be so blessed is the worst thing is our college football team in our lives. May we all be so blessed.
We are that blessed, and blessings to each of you. May God be with you. Happy Thanksgiving from our families to yours. Sick 'em. We'll see you next time.
We are Rogue Media Sports.